All right, how you doing? My name is Franklin Cruz. Thanks so much for watching Real Estate Geniuses. I'm the founder of TrueInvestors.com and True Investors Development. So in this series that you're about to, not series, this is actually the episode that you're about to listen to. This episode, I'm gonna answer the top 14 questions so you wanna be a real estate developer. So this is gonna be an intense one because we just finished a series called the Masterclass of how I actually took one house, converted over the 41 lots, sold it to KB Homes for $1.25 million. Then they turned around and actually named the street after my family, which is called Cruz Court. Very cool. 7187. It was the first address. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Franklin Cruz. I'm a real estate developer, military veteran, if you can't tell from the Eagle stuff. My projects have been on the front page of the newspaper before. And then just recently, we also won the City of Lakeland's Beautification Award, which is a very cool on one of our modern home projects. And we just got nominated for the Frank Lloyd Wright Spirit Award as well. So in this series, in this podcast, what I'm about to go over, and if you're watching it through YouTube, thank you so much as well. I'm going to go over, so you want to be a real estate developer, the top 14 questions that I got, I'm going to answer them right now. All right, so let's get right into it. So the very first question I got was, what kind of mindset does a real estate developer need? What I look at is the mindset has to be kind of three things that I look at. The first one, you have to be egoless because you're constantly needing to learn more and more and more. And a lot of times you're constantly working in the unknown. So you may have a blind spot that you have no idea, but you're going to have to work out a deal and understand that from your civil engineer, from your attorney, or even from your partners as well, or even from another acquisition manager, or the person doing your geotech, right? So that's who's doing your boring test. So you have to have this mindset of being completely egoless. The other thing is you have to have the mindset of being a person of integrity. You have to do your best to do the right thing, even when nobody is looking. And even though you may be in a circumstance, and I've been in plenty, that you're doing your absolute best. And as long as you know that you're doing your absolute best with integrity, that's all you can ever do. And then the last thing is truly do your best. This is the mindset. Truly do your best to do everything with great love. If you're doing a project with great love, that means that you're waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning and that you're working late. You're working 7 days a week to make it happen. Not just because you said you were going to do it, just because you know that that's the right thing to do. So do it with great love. Hopefully that answers the question. What is the hardest part about starting out? It's the unknown. It's in a sense of really what is the unknown, because you don't know how expensive everything's going to get. As a real estate developer, yes, the profit margins can definitely be increased. So if you first starting out in real estate, you typically start off as a realtor or let's say a wholesaler. Those deals can be anywhere from $5,000 profit to 20 grand, right? And then you turn into a rehabber. A rehabber profit could be 20 to 50. Then you want to turn into a developer or a builder, really a builder. You're building product. So that builder, now your profits could be 50 to 100. As a developer, your profits could be, $500,000 to multi-million dollars. The only thing is there also comes a price to knowledge. Because the profits are so high, everything else is very expensive. And if you don't know what you're doing, it's going to just be very expensive. So my biggest thing is if you don't have the capital reserves to start, then you want to make sure that you have a great partner with you that you can go through this journey, and make sure there's enough margin on the deal, profit margin, that no matter what, it's still a win-win for everybody all the way around. So that's the hardest part when you start. How do you handle how do you handle fear or imposter syndrome? I don't even think about it. I just know that I do. It's like, for example, if you're working with me, my biggest thing that I'm always thinking about is saying, how can I make sure everybody's protected? How do I create what I call a zero risk factor? That means I do my absolute best to have zero risk to any of my investors, my partners. How do I create that win-win, even for the seller, for the buyer, for everybody involved? How do I do it, and how does that work? So to me, it's don't even think about it, just make it happen, period. All right, the next thing, what's it like working with me? So great question. So what's it like working with me is we're going to get results, period. At the end of the day, it's 100% about it's result driven. Nothing else matters to me rather than saying, okay, we have an objective. We just bought a piece of property. Let's say like I've got 130 acre parcel off of Polk Parkway. So that property, I am doing everything in my power to actually sell that property, right? So we've got conceptual plans from doing a business park. We have conceptual plans that now we could fill in the pond and fill in the lake. We have conceptual plans for D.R. Horton and Adam Homes that we can put possibly 400 plus houses on the property. We have so I'm constantly putting different options out there to create that win-win scenario for somebody else. So that is huge. And that's what you want to create is win-win-win scenarios nonstop. And that's the name of the game. So working with me is result-driven and no excuses. Next question. What type of person do you not want to work with? Somebody who's lazy and has got excuses, period. That's it. If you're lazy and you have excuses, it's not going to work for me. And if you're somebody that is over analytical, just like me, basically you're analyzing everything so much to a T that it's a stopping point for you. So meaning you're not even progressing moving forward because you're constantly thinking, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this? Sometimes you just got to jump, man. That's it. You know, I've been skydiving before. So it's like, sometimes you just got to jump off the plane, make it happen. And that's it. That's all you have to do. So what do you look for in a new student or partner? So a new student or somebody that we're working together, I'm just looking for somebody who is not fear-driven and excuse-driven. Somebody who is egoless, somebody who has integrity, and somebody that really feels like, hey, this is my purpose. This is what I've got to do to move forward. And a partner as well. So if you're a financial partner on a deal, it's the same thing. Look, things happen, man. Life happens. We didn't know COVID was going to hit. I call it the third fist effect, but it did. So your goal is to say, okay, well, I got to move forward. I got to make it happen. So that's kind of what I look for is somebody kind of similar to me, which is the goal is take them to zero risk in every deal. What is multiple exit strategies that we have? So on one parcel, can we sell it for a business park? Can we sell it for light industrial? Can we sell it for a multifamily play? Can we sell it for a single family play? Can we build if we wanted to? Can we just say, hey, we're going to subdivide it and keep it? Like having multiple exit strategies, that is the key, at least that I have found. All right. Number 7, what is the biggest mistake people make trying to start in development? They don't have, for me, what I have seen is they attempt to go in it alone and they have a huge ego. So they think they can actually do it and they don't even have like proper consultants next to them. And a proper consultant is actually somebody who understands how to actually negotiate with the seller, the legal aspect of it, the civil engineer aspect of it, how to actually work out this deal with your local municipalities, how to actually work line by line by line on this transaction, and then also how to negotiate a win-win scenario on the disposition side when you're actually selling it. That, to me, is the biggest mistake that people make is they don't think about the entire chain and the entire workflow on a transaction. And a lot of them just don't know. All right, so next question, number 8. How long before someone can close on a deal? That depends. Every transaction is a little bit different, and you really have no idea how long something's going to take. I've even been in transactions the day of closing, something goes sideways, and it just doesn't happen. So I always say, look, there's a best case, worst case. In real estate development, best case scenario, possibly 6 months. Worst case scenario, 24 to 36 months. It all matters how big the size of the project is. It all matters the complexity. You know, I've got a project that we sold as an easement to a pipeline. That pipeline now has to actually drill underneath Polk Parkway to make it to the other side to connect to the Florida's gas. So, and the funny part is the transaction was very short. It only took us 2 months to close the deal and get everything closed out, but it took them forever to get everything closed out because they still have to do the construction. So again, every deal It depends, I would say. All right, real quick. I know you're still listening. So I just want to let you know, my goal in life is to make a difference in this country. And I know that we can do that by you stepping up. If you're a true investor that wants to be a true developer, now is the time. We can work together. Apply to work with me. Possibly we could partner on deals. Probably you can be a part of the program. I have no idea, but go to TrueInvestors.com right now to see if you can actually get into the system or not. The second thing is too, if you have a piece of land or you have a property that you want to sell, I may be interested in it. So please go to TrueFastOffers.com and probably we can make it work. All right, let's get back to it. Number 9, what is the difference between wholesaler and developer? The biggest difference is wholesaling, you look at deals from the ground. Development, you look at deals from the sky. That's probably the biggest difference. So, and obviously the numbers are completely different. So a wholesaler, a real estate wholesaler typically is somebody who's one-sided or one mind. They've got one thing on their mind whenever they're doing a deal, right? And that's, I got to get this deal and sell it for a profit, and that's it. I got it. The only thing is not every deal works out that way. You may go to a property that needs no work. So what do you do? So for me, I just care about, my philosophy is creating a win-win-win scenario no matter what with the property seller. If it's a property or land, no matter what, how do we create the win-win? And that's it. And then from there, everything else will work out. So my recommendation is the wholesaler is up your skill set. Learn how to be a rehabber as well. Learn how to partner with possibly real estate investors and also realtors too. Learn how to also possibly negotiate a deal with developers. So on the development side, the biggest difference is we're looking at a lot larger of an asset class. We're looking at what's possible on this piece of land or what's possible on this structure. Can we convert it to apartments? Can we convert it to light industrial? Just a lot bigger numbers. When you really know, like, truly anything is possible in real estate as long as two people sign and agree, really the entire world just opens up for you. Number 10, do I need to already have a lot of money and connections when I start in real estate development? The answer is no. Hell no. You don't need money or connections. What you need is a deal. What I've always discovered is if you have the deal, everything else could work out. But you also, for me, I look at every deal kind of like a house deal, meaning if I get a deal under contract and I know I bought it for $200,000 and it needs light cosmetic, but after I finish it, it'll easily be worth $285,000. That's a win-win, and I could show the comps for that. The only thing is with development, it's a little bit different. It's harder to show comps because you don't know how the other asset classes actually closed. Did they close at shovel-ready status? Did they close at pad-ready status? Did they close at a finished product and it's a cap rate status? You don't know how that individual actually closed out that deal. So what I look at is to say, okay, well, on my side, what I need to do is I need to find a buyer already before I start fielding out a private money or somebody to come involved on this transaction. So that's typically the hardest part, is to make sure you have an LOI from somebody else that's interested in your product. So that's the answer to that question. Number 11, what does your average day look like? Well, my average day looks like I typically wake up at 3 a.m., about 6 days a week, not 7 days a week. So 6 days a week, I wake up at 3 a.m. Typically, I work right when I wake up until typically about 5. I may do, every other day I do CrossFit or I work out. And I do my best to track my activities to always improve my skill set, period. So like right now we're doing the podcast. Well, I'm getting better at understanding what's the intro, what's the outro, what's the midtro to a podcast. Also letting them know, hey, if you actually want to work with me, giving them a call to action, like, hey, go to TrueInvestors.com and fill out the application. If you have a property for sale, go to TrueFastOffer.com. I didn't do that in the first beginning of the episodes. You could watch it. Like, I'm doing my best to just get better through time. And so that's how I look at every single day is, one, I have to make sure my projects in the morning, usually between 7 and 8, I'm calling all of my project managers. I'm looking at the financials every single morning. I always look at the accounts. And I kind of go through what I call deep work time. And then I also have a stretch of about 4 hours a day that I do nothing but advertise to actually get in more clients, more deals coming into the pipeline. And then just basically what I'm doing is creating from my small boutique development company, something very small. And the vision is creating something a lot larger and be more of a community with true investors and true developers. So every day I'm kind of working on that. Hopefully this makes sense. All right, the next thing is, how do you manage deals, family, and health? Well, I manage deals in a sense of I have a deal board. So I'm looking at my deals literally every single day. And I know exactly what we have in the pipeline and where we're at in that pipeline, also the financials of it. Then when it deals with family, like I'm a single father, right? So I have a 16-year-old and my 23-year-old is living his life in New York. So for me, that's actually not the hard part. When, we spend time together, we have a blast. And when I had a wife, then the way I structured it when I was married at the time was I would just wake up before everybody else, 3 a.m. as well, work out, work as much. And I always loved taking making breakfast for the whole family, taking the kids to school, picking them up, taking them to baseball practice, football practice, being a coach, having dinner and making dinner for the family. And I still meal prepped as well. So to me is you create structure as a man. I'm a man. So you create structure that it makes it work for everybody without having the excuse of, I don't have any time. So what I can't stand is somebody saying, oh, well, I don't have time. Look, at the end of the day, create the time. Stop with the excuses. Wake up earlier, go to bed later, just make things happen. That's it. And a lot of times I would recommend wake up earlier and have more of a go to bed time so that it's just easier on your body because you do need to recover, period. So in health, I work out. My goal is to move 60 minutes a day. So every single day, my goal is to move. So CrossFit 3 times a week, working out with weights anywhere from 3 times a week as well. And then if I'm walking outside, I always wear a 60-pound vest. And I just want to actually be intentional about my movement. And I eat clean. So I would say, I meal prep, 2 weeks at a time. And I eat pretty clean. So, salmon, turkey, Gatorade Zero is my delight that I love. And if I do go out, the biggest thing is I really enjoy it because I typically don't go out. So that's it. Number 13, what does it mean when you say I'm a drill sergeant and all I care about is results? That's it, basically. When I was in the military, one of the last things I wanted to do, so I was an Army recruiter I was a gold badge recruiter with 3 sapphires. And so those are individual awards that are awarded through achievement. So in the Army recruiting world, I was just below what they call the ring, the meritorious, where you get meritoriously promoted from having the recruiting ring. I was just under because when the war started, I opted out of recruiting not to get the ring and to go to war. But I did receive all the awards you could as an Army recruiter. And I thought it would be really cool if I could be a drill sergeant. So instead of being a drill sergeant in the military, I said, well, bump it. I'll just be a drill sergeant when it comes down to my business. But not in a bad way, in a way of I just care about results. A drill sergeant, all they care about is results. They don't care about your excuses. They don't care about your mommy issues. They don't care about that you're 30 years old still sucking on your mother's nipple. Like that doesn't mean anything to them. What matters is getting results and you transforming from a little kid to an actual man. And so that's how I look at every single deal is like, look, all that matters is the results. We have to get this done. How do we get to the finish line? And that's it, period. There's really nothing else to say. And I really don't care about anybody else's stories or what happened to you. If you're missing a leg or a foot, like that, got it. That's your secret weapon. Use it, move on. So at least that's how I look at it. And the last question, what does a successful student look like 12 months from now in your world? Well, to me, as somebody who's successful, if we work together, is really simple. It's just somebody that you're getting the results because you're actually doing the work. You're listening to what I have to say. You're going to the building department and finding out who are the municipality, who is the planner on call that you can call about a specific deal. How do you move forward in a transaction? How do you make it happen? How do you have no excuses with it? How do you go talk to a seller? How do you negotiate? Like you're actually just putting in the work that you've learned from me and then moving on. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense. And we just went through the top 14 questions that I get when it comes down to, so you want to be a real estate developer. And these are those top questions. So what I would say is, if you're interested, and thank you so much for listening to the entire thing, if you're actually interested in working together on a deal, partnering, or just being a part of me, you being a client of mine, and we actually doing deals together and moving in that direction, I would say fill out the application, go to TrueInvestors.com, fill out the application, I'll review it. If it's something I'm interested in, we'll be in contact. If not, it's all good. Just keep listening to what I'm talking about, taking action, massive action, and making it happen. And if you're a property seller and you're ready to sell your property, just do me a favor, go to TrueFastOffers.com. Again, TrueFastOffers.com. My name is Franklin Cruz. Hopefully you got something out of this. If you did, again, please leave a comment below, like, share it, do all that cool stuff. That would be amazing. Talk to you soon. All right, bye.